If you've ever stood in front of a family at a photo session and gone completely blank, then this episode is for you. So welcome back to another episode of Between the Frames. I'm your host, 𝘾𝙊𝙉𝙉𝙀𝙊𝙉, and this is going to be a full episode, you guys. I have so much information I want to share with you, but as promised, I want to dive in and give you the bare bones of what to expect for this episode. So this episode is coming after the one all about prompts. So if you haven't listened to that episode yet, it's called Stop Posing, Start Prompting. Then I encourage you to go listen to that one first. And so you may be a little bit confused as to why I'm now doing a follow-up episode that is talking specifically about posing. Yes, I guess my title of my last episode was just a little bit hooky, so to speak, because not to pose at all is kind of not really what I'm saying. But what I was trying to encourage you guys there is to think about prompting more than posing. But today I do actually want to provide you with a lot. I've got 30 poses here, you guys. A lot of poses that will give you ideas so that when you're looking at a family, you can kind of picture something in your head of what you're looking to achieve. And then you can really use those prompts to help get your families into what it is that you're exactly envisioning. So I have organized these 30 poses into categories that kind of make sense for my brain. I hope they make sense for your brain too. And I will say this is not really a checklist. This is not the be all and end all, but this is a lot of poses and they are ones that consistently do well. They are tried and true, tested, they work. All right, you guys? So before we dive into my long list of poses, I do want to just give you a quick little life update. So I think when I was recording my last episode all about prompts, it was just before the weekend. It was my husband's birthday. I had two other kids' birthday parties lined up. One of them was my son's. And then we had one of his friends' birthdays on the Sunday. And oh my goodness, I just felt completely non-human on Monday. Like even on Sunday, I want to say, I just struggled to do anything. I took, the birthday party was in the morning and it was so hot outside. And although their backyard was shady, we were just like outside kind of melting all morning. So yeah, I just needed to like cool off. I took a shower and I just was like, you know what? I actually need to go take a nap. I took a nap when my son was napping. He's not really napping anymore, but he took some quiet time and I still felt horrible when I woke up. So yeah, yesterday I would just woke up again, like on the struggle bus. But I tell you what, I say this to my members at the gym where I coach all the time, like you are one workout away from feeling infinitely better. And it's so true. Like I did not want to work out yesterday and I worked out and I felt so much better. And today too, like my son was up in the night. He woke me up early. So I probably got like 6 hours sleep and I'm actually feeling okay. I'm kind of surprised. So highly recommend it. If you are not currently working out or not adding in a little workout time into your day-to-day life, I encourage you to do that. Anyway, so I survived all the birthday stuff, but yesterday was kind of a shocker of a day because I usually love Mondays. Like my kids are back in school and I just feel like I have so much time to get on top of everything. And yeah, I don't know, it just did not happen. I feel like it was an unproductive day. I had a client reach out and I'm not complaining at all, but their session is in like a month and a little over a month. And it's an extended family session. So there's a lot of coordination going on, especially when it comes to outfits. And they're traveling. So they just kind of wanted to get on top of the whole outfit thing, which I completely understand. And they were like definitely on my to-do list to reach out to. But anyway, she was kind of reached out sounding a little bit desperate. So I was like, okay, I'm going to curate this little style guide booklet for them, because I also have this vision about doing a cute like picnic for them all, since there's going to be so many of them. So she wanted to understand what that vision looked like. Anyway, I like created this whole deck in Canva and it looked amazing and sent that out, but it took me a while to do that. And then I got a couple of inquiries in, so I had to respond to those really quickly. And I don't know, like the entire day just disappeared, and then I had to go coach. So yeah, did not get any editing done as planned. But I feel like that is really common when you're an entrepreneur, and there's going to be plenty days when you feel like you're not being productive, or you weren't productive in the way that you wanted to be. And it just feels like you're not moving forward with things, and like everything is just like adding. So I will just say, like, it happens to all of us. It happens to the best of us. You will get that time to kind of catch up, but really, like, the work is always going to be there, which is a good thing. We want to have work. So yeah, just try not to let it kind of spiral in your mind and develop into like anxiety. And I'm saying this as much for myself as I am for you guys. But yeah, anyway, so if you had an unproductive day tomorrow, today's a new day. Get into your editing, get some of that done. What else is going on in my life? I have like a little bit of a mystery happening with my car key. So we have a Honda Pilot, and I changed the battery for it at least a month ago, I want to say, and it's been working absolutely fine. But all of a sudden recently, whenever I try to start the car and the key is in the car, it just like won't start. And it's like saying that it can't detect where the key is. And it's really strange. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. I turned the car like off. I locked it. I unlocked it. I pressed the brake pedal. I tried to push the start key, and like nothing was happening. It's so weird. Anyway, I Google it later, and apparently if you have an AirTag, that can like really interfere with your car key's ability to essentially function. So I took that out, and the car seemed to be working. So I was like, oh my gosh, mystery solved. So great. But then my car kind of did the same thing again this morning. So I don't know. If any of you guys have any insights, I would love, give me the tips, give me the advice. Maybe I need to change the battery again in my car key. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry. Sorry to kind of put this on you, but I need some help in my life, all right? Adulting is hard. All right, and I'm just going to wrap things up real quick. I do have quite a lot of things that I'm looking forward to this summer, because it's like so hot outside already. It's only the second week of June. I just feel like, I don't know, the climate is getting hotter and hotter every year. So it's definitely summer. And I started thinking about all the things I have lined up. I'm super excited. This weekend, I'm actually shooting an elopement in Buena Vista. So that's really fun. I'm excited. And then what else? My extended family session is also coming up in Winter Park. So again, I'm just loving sessions in the mountains. I cannot wait. If you know anybody who is wanting sessions in the mountains and it's not your jam, then hit me up. I love that stuff. So I'm very excited. And then I'm also going to be taking a little personal trip, doing it's like a photography workshop and kind of a retreat in Crested Butte. So that's in July. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to see the wildflowers there. I really hope that they're not, I don't know, that something weird isn't going on because of the weather being so hot, and that maybe we miss them. Fingers crossed we don't. I'd love to see those wildflowers. Okay, without further ado, I am going to get into all of the stuff that you are here for. So, since in my last episode, when I was talking about prompting, I was kind of saying, stop posing. You may be asking the question, well, why pose at all? Well, first off, I do think it's important to kind of just highlight that distinction between posing and prompting. So when you're prompting, you are kind of directing, you're guiding, and you're not really like organizing people's bodies, so to speak. You're kind of delivering a concept or an idea and then just taking a step back and watching and see what unfolds. With posing, you are being a lot more deliberate. You're thinking about hand placement. So and I think it comes a lot more naturally with couples sessions because there's only two people. So posing is just a lot easier than family sessions when there's a lot of people. That you are being really intentional with where bodies are in relation to each other, where that hand placement is, where people's eyes are looking, all of that stuff. So that's kind of the difference between the two, all right? So prompting is about how you're talking and what you're saying, and then posing is the vision, the idea of what you're building towards. So usually I like to have my kind of list or my go-to prompts that I know I'm going to use, but I also like to have a little checklist in my head of poses that I think are going to work really well for that particular session. And obviously I do have my go-tos. If you use them time and time again, they become more natural. You kind of don't even have to think about them. You just can naturally know where you're going. So it's great to have some go-tos. And I don't necessarily, I feel like remembering the poses can be hard. I think with prompts, you can kind of name them. And I would probably encourage you to do the same with poses. If you name something like, I don't know, I'm going to try and think of it. Let's just say rocket ship. And you know that that's the one where dad is kind of pulling the kid up in front of him. Anytime you label something, it's going to be infinitely more easy for your brain to remember it. I like to have in my head my little checklist of poses that I am thinking are going to work well for that session. And then speaking directly to posing, I do find if I'm struggling with not understanding why a pose isn't working, I think a lot of the time it's because the connection isn't there. So maybe you prompted a family to do something. Maybe they're walking together hand in hand, or maybe you just prompted mom and dad to hug or something like that. Or maybe it's like a group family hug, like everybody hug in together. Sometimes it can still look a little awkward or something might be off. So something that I like to remind myself of is this little phrase, close the gaps. Okay, so it's really simple. It's very memorable. And what you're essentially saying to yourself is, okay, are there any gaps? Is anything looking off? And I will say, usually this is dad. So you're going to want to look at dad. And just kind of, tighten everything in. We want that closeness. We want that connection. Obviously, there are beautiful opportunities and poses where a little distance or some gaps look great, but you need to be very intentional with that, okay? Okay, so as I already mentioned, I've categorized these poses. And so the first category is connection-based poses, okay? This is just kind of how I like to think of them. These are more slower paced typically. They're more the emotional anchors of a session. So these are kind of the ones that will fill your gallery with a lot of feeling and a lot of emotion. I will say that a lot of the time they're going to be a lot more candid. It's going to won't look like a lot when you're shooting them. But then when you get them back and you're able to crop and just apply your edits, they're going to be the ones that really draw people in, okay? All right, so here are my poses, and I will kind of embellish as I go along. But here we go, number one. So peekaboo, and honestly, there's a lot of variations of peekaboo. You can have parents playing peekaboo with their kids, especially if they have little kids, so literally hands over their eyes. But you can also, this works quite well with shy or slightly more timid kids. You can actually have the kid play peekaboo behind their parent. So maybe they're kind of hugging or holding onto their parent from behind. And I'm thinking that this is like mom or dad are seated on the ground here. But it could also work standing, like maybe they're hiding behind their legs. And yeah, you just kind of encourage the kid to play peekaboo. And I feel like this is an easy one. Like literally play with the kid. Like, oh my gosh, where'd you go? Oh, you're hiding. I can't see you. And peekaboo. So this is what I sound like when I talk to my toddler. Yeah, so instant silliness gets a lot of genuine smiles. Another variation of this one, you could have the kid on dad's shoulders and you can have the kid put their hands over dad's eyes. Obviously, he's not moving around for this one because that would be a little bit dangerous. But yeah, just kind of encourage the kid to place his hands over dad's eyes and do peekaboo. That can look really cute as well. All right, number 2. Whispering a silly word or favorite color, favorite animal, something like that. Just trying to get the kid to whisper something into their parent's ear. This also works well with siblings as well. So if you're trying to get that sibling connection, usually I will say it works best with siblings. You just have one of the kids, probably the older one, just kind of encourage them to whisper something silly into their sibling's ear. I do like to also ask like favorite animals, or I think it's fun if you can really get them to think. So sometimes I'll say, what's your favorite animal? And they'll tell me, and I'll be like, can you tell mom your second favorite animal? And they kind of have to think about it for a second and whisper it into mom's ear. Okay, slight interruption there. For reference, I am in the loft space in my house because it has good light, and I still haven't really figured out where to record these episodes. So yes, it can be a little chaotic with people coming in and out of the house, but there we go. Moving on, we covered number 2. Let's move on. Number 3, boop somebody's nose. So this works well. You can have the kiddo boop mommy on the nose with their finger, or literally rub noses. That one's so cute. My son loves to do that. So just a little nose boop can look so cute, and the kids love to do it. Sometimes a little too intensely. But usually when you capture it, get all the different angles, and you can't really tell if they are being a little too aggressive. All right, number 4. It was an extension of that. So it was a nose kiss, but you can also do just any kind of variation of that. So a little kiss on the top of the head, even maybe a butterfly kiss, but just some kind of, more closer connection. Yeah. All right, number 5, tickle. This one's super easy. All right. So usually best if everyone's sitting down or lying down even. I quite often will bring a blanket to my sessions, so I love to get laying down poses if possible. A kind of blanket snuggle that turns into like a little tickle party or tickle fight is really cute and super easy to remember. Okay, number 6. This one is really good for newborn sessions, but it really can work well if you are trying to get that parent-child closeness and you want the child to initiate it. So the prompt here is, does baby's hair smell like strawberries, or maybe ice cream or something the toddler is interested in? And yeah, what we're looking for here is nose kind of in the hair. That one can just look so beautiful. It's really an extension of the kissing pose, but I do like to try to have a toddler, so a younger child, do this to a parent, but it works beautifully in newborn sessions if you're trying to capture that closeness between the older sibling and their new baby. All right, number 7, I was just about to say as well as a blanket. I already said, I bring a blanket to a lot of my family sessions. So as well as using your blanket for laying on the floor, you can also use the blanket in a lot of different ways. It's really fun. And actually, if you want to think of blanket, like the blanket as a prop and a category kind of all on its own, you can have a lot of different options there for using a blanket. So this one I have is the surprise blanket hug. I love this if you have siblings together and you kind of have them stand close together, hold hands maybe encourage them to close their eyes or look up at the sky, just kind of distract them. And then the parents are in the background. So even before any of the action happens, mom and dad are in the background holding this blanket. You're going to focus in on the kids in front and then maybe even focus in on the background with the parents. And then you're going to maybe say a magic word that the kids don't know what it is. You've already told the parents. And when you say that magic word, the parents are going to run in and they're going to just wrap their kids in that blanket in a nice big hug. Honestly, I feel like this one never fails. I always get a great reaction from the kids in this one and the parents too. Like the parents are really having fun. They're letting go for a minute. They kind of forget what they're doing and they're just in the moment having fun with their kids. So it's so beautiful for a lot of different reactions. But yeah, everyone looks so happy in that moment. I love it. All right. The next one is kids hugging parents from behind. So usually for this, parents are going to be seated and it's super easy. You can just have actually get kind of like a sweet couple moment with mom and dad. You can have them sat kind of shoulder to shoulder, like angled in or hips to hips, if you don't want them completely front onto you. And then there's space behind for the kiddos to give mom and dad a hug. So you just kind of want to encourage them to be gentle. Sometimes they have that tendency to like choke mom and dad out a little bit. So just kind of ask them to lean in. And, sometimes kids may be already running around. So you say, okay, on the count of 3, we're going to run around. And then on 3, let's give mom and dad a big hug. Kids often need that little lead up to something, and counting to 3 usually works. Okay, number 9 is a secret handshake. This one is fun for slightly older kids. I don't know if it would really work with toddlers. Maybe it will. Depends how much of that kind of thing you already do at home. But just kind of ask them to invent like a secret handshake with their parent or even with their sibling on the spot and just kind of see what happens. I think this would work well with like the age group of maybe 4, but I'm kind of leaning towards 5 and up. All right, next one, number 10, row your boat. So the child is going to be sitting in their parent's lap, facing in. Parents are going to have their knees bent, and we're just going for like a little rocking motion here. But this is a great way to set up that pose of child in parent's lap and kind of that closeness, a little playfulness, but also sometimes kids just get really snuggly in this pose. So it's a great opportunity to capture that closeness, that connection. And then I almost missed one. Number 11 is cloud watching. So this is a great one to do laying down on the blanket. Just kind of have them positioned close together, maybe heads all towards one top end. You could have one kiddo kind of laying their head just like where they would naturally, like on their parent's shoulder or chest. And just ask them to look up, see what clouds there are. Can they see any animals? That kind of animals? Yeah, animals. I was like, wait, what? Animals in the sky? Yes, cloud animals. And yeah, have to encourage the parents to kind of point. I love those ones. They feel very nostalgic, and they will absolutely be a big hit in your galleries. Okay, now number 12. This one's great. You can use a prop. So sometimes if kids are really shy, or if there is a special prop like a book that parents might want to bring from home, then that's a great way to kind of get that intentional connection and closeness. So just have the kiddo in the parent's lap and they can read a little book that they brought with them. If they did not bring a book with them, then I encourage you to find things in nature. So maybe pick up a leaf, a flower, and just kind of prompt the parent to show it to the kid and kind of look for specific things. So what colors do we see? Are there any bugs in there? That kind of thing. But basically just trying to capture that interaction with nature, and the closeness there can be so beautiful. All right, so that was my category of connection-based poses. There was a couple of playful ones in there, but mostly these ones are a little more slower paced. And now we're going to move on to the fun movement poses. Okay, so these are a little more action-based. This is where the session tends to feel a little more energetic. And so I will just encourage you to kind of read your family, see how they're feeling. If things are slowing down too much, then maybe you need some of these movement poses to kind of bring the energy back up again, all right? Depending on what the time is and where you are in your session. But yeah, we don't want the kiddos to start getting tired and bored and just being done with the entire session. All right, so number 1 for the movement poses, which I guess is number 13. Number 13. Okay, we have walking. So I like to really try to empower the kids as much as possible in my sessions. It just helps them to feel like they're a part of it and they're not being told what to do. So ask the child to lead their dad or their mom over to that big rock over there. And maybe you can say, oh, I think I saw a rabbit or a bunny rabbit hiding behind that rock. Maybe you can lead daddy over there and see if it's still there. Okay, something like that. So you'll get a really beautiful situation where you're having the small child lead their parent. I absolutely love that. It feels very poetic. And there's lots of opportunity to capture some small details with that, okay? So you can get the wide angle, you can get the medium shot, and then get those close-ups with the hand being held, with the feet on the path, and all that kind of stuff. All right, next one is going to be running. So stepping up that energy level just a touch more. So you can have them run toward you or run away. Sometimes kids really want to do this anyway, so they'll run away from the parents towards me, and then I will have them run back to their parents. And again, if you make it a race, 1, 2, 3, go, they are all in. They love it. And then if they're running away from me, then parents can catch them. So that one's great. You can also have the entire family running together. The kids love that. So again, maybe make it a race. Like, I wonder if you can run faster than mom and dad. Let's see. Or let's all hold hands and let's see if you can make mom and dad run really fast. All right, so that was I'm losing track of my numbers. That was number 14, number 2 in the movement. All right, number 15 now. This one is all about getting the kids more to the same height as the parents. So having the kids get a piggyback ride from the parents, or go on their shoulders, or even just carrying them on your hip if they're on the younger side. All of those variations can read very differently. And I love them all. I really love the visual of one kid on dad's shoulders, dad kind of holding hands with mom, and then another kid on the end of that chain, again holding hands with mom. So that's just such like a beautiful line that you create there, and visually just looks really appealing. You can also get mom and dad to come in really close with that one, and maybe have mom pick up the other child. So that one would look great for just a portrait, but with a lot of just visual height differences in there. It's going to look very appealing. All right, number 16. This one's easy. Dancing. All right. Don't forget to encourage your clients to dance during a session. This one's so easy. You can have them hold hands. You can have them just hold one hand. And this goes for mom and dad too. So have them twirl. All those things look so beautiful. I don't think it needs a lot of explanation. Just don't overthink it. If it's for some reason not working out, sometimes I find the twirl can be a little tricky and you can keep missing the face of the person who's twirling. So just kind of make sure that they are holding, let's see, opposite hands. Yes, opposite. Okay, number 17. This one is an animal-based prompt. And this is just going to kind of get some laughs, but it's also going to help a kid kind of come back into the session if they're not really cooperating. So this did not work for my son recently when I was trying to get his attention, but you can kind of encourage them to stomp like a dinosaur, or hey, can we fly like birds or like butterflies, or like an airplane. So this is a prompt, but essentially what we're looking for is a movement-based pose where something is happening, there's action, okay? And it looks playful, it looks fun. Mom and dad maybe are participating, or maybe they're holding hands and watching. But that's kind of what you're looking for with that particular prompt. All right, number 18. Kids like to climb. If you can see anything at your session that is safe for a kid to climb, I would encourage you to go and use it. It's a great way to actually get into a more traditional portrait. So I will say, maybe I need to come back to this thought, but I will say, as much as my galleries include a lot of lifestyle-based poses, all right, so candid poses or candid portraits, let's say, I am still looking for those opportunities where I can get beautiful portraits where everybody is smiling and looking at the camera, because I think it's important to still include a handful of those into people's galleries. I think people still want them. I don't know that they necessarily always use them, but I do think they want them. So yes. And back to my point, climbing really gives you that opportunity for that, especially if there's a fence. So think about kiddo climbing up the fence and then sitting on it. Maybe dad is behind, mom's in front leaning on the fence. It sets it up well, kind of staggering the height of everybody so that you can get that beautiful, clean portrait of everyone smiling at the camera. You can also use a rock or a tree or anything, okay? But yes, obviously make sure it's safe. And then don't forget to just work your angles. I mean, this goes without saying for every single prompt and pose. Capture it from different angles so that you're getting that variety in your gallery. All right, this one is another blanket-based one. We're on number 19 here, and this one is the blanket run. So this time you're going to have mom and dad hold the blanket, kind of like they're those, what do you call them? What is it, toro? I forget what they're called. Like a bull. I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, my goodness, my brain needs more sleep. Mom and dad are going to hold one end of the blanket each, okay? So they'll be opposite each other, and they're going to kind of like lift the blanket up and down, and the kids are going to run through or under the blanket. So you're looking for, with this one, that wide shot where you can see the whole frame and everybody and the kids, all right? And then you want to get down low and get that picture of the kids when they're running through the blanket. You're going to get a lot of laughs. You're going to get beautiful flowing fabric. It's stunning. So make sure you're getting all the angles again with that one. Okay, let me see. What do I have left? Goodness, I think I have more than 30 poses here, but that's okay. We'll just rename the episode title. All right, number 20. Maybe I need to do my math though and make sure before we finish the episode. So I'm moving into a new category now. We are getting into even more playful poses. Okay, so those ones were pretty energetic, but these ones are going to be even more playful. Okay. Again, I think this is just a beautiful grouping to include in your gallery, and I think it's going to feel very nostalgic again, not just for the parents, but I think for the kids. I think that's something that we forget. Like, the images we're creating now are not just for the parents, they're for the children now, but also as they grow up. My kids are obsessed at looking at photos of us and talking about the photos. And yeah, it's so interesting to me. I don't know if I was this obsessed with family photos when I was a kid, but yeah, my kids really are. We have like I'm looking over to our space, our stairwell. We have like frames going up in our stairwell there. And almost every single day, my kids will point something out about them to the point that I really need to keep adding more because I feel like we're running out of stuff to say about the ones that are currently on the wall. So there we go. I just added something to my to-do list. All right, so the first one in this category, and I think we're on number 20 here, is Superman with a parent. So parent's going to be laying on their back, and then the child is going to be balancing on their feet or on their knees, kind of depends on how big the kiddo is, for Superman. It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't know. I feel like I mentioned this one at a family session recently, and they were like, oh no, we haven't done this before. So maybe with the smaller kids, it's not something that everybody would do. I feel like we are very much, like the kids did gymnastics early on, Jason wrestles, like we're very much like floor-based play with our bodies in that way. So I don't know. I feel like it's pretty straightforward. Okay, next one, 21, is just a family pile-on. So usually I will have like mom and dad lay down, or dad lay down, mom sit up, or just kind of parents are on the ground though. And then we'll have the kids just kind of pile onto them. So it's just, there's not necessarily like a specific composition here, but you're just kind of looking for that messiness of what happens when everyone just like piles on dad or piles on mom. And there's usually a lot of laughter, and yeah, it's super fun. I love that one. And I love when it just happens naturally and I don't even need to prompt a family to do that. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to set the blanket down and we're going to lay down. And then all of a sudden they are piling on dad. I'm like, cool, this is great. Let's go with it. So yeah, if you have a blanket, just watch out. Magical things happen. Okay, number 22, flying toward the camera. So this is a good one, especially if you only have one kid in the session and they are younger. It does work well if there's multiple kids, but a younger kid at the session, you can have either one parent or both parents. So I'm not sure if I'm mentioning this one again later. Let me talk about both variations now. So if just one, usually I will have dad hold the kiddo kind of under their belly, or one arm under the belly, the other one kind of on top. And he's going to be spinning around and flying the kid towards mom. So mom is going to be somewhere there, kind of putting her arms out and just kind of like making that connection that way. So it is a beautiful pose eventually after the prompt, because you can have these moments of separation and connection where, maybe baby and mom do connect hands. It's really beautiful. I love this one too, not just for that like kind of front on wide angle, but also if I'm laying down on the ground. So I will often have them do this multiple times. I'll lay down on the ground and get that action of baby like flying through the air and then reaching for mom's hands and mom's hands like touching babies. It's so cute. I love it. And you get that blue sky. Oh, it's so pretty. So then the second variation of this one is both mom and dad kind of standing side by side, and usually we'll have one of them have their arm under their like the chest or torso area, and then the other one is kind of supporting their thighs. And then they're just swinging baby towards me, towards the camera. So again, that one's beautiful. I kind of like number 1 more, but number 2 is also really great. Okay, that was my next one. Okay, so that was 22 and 23. Yes. All right. Next, we have spinning. So for this one, we're going to have the child facing out, but they can also face in, whatever. You could do both. So usually we're grabbing the kiddo underneath their armpits, so mom or dad are kind of connecting their hands in front of their chest, and then they're just spinning around. Kids love it. Parents love it. Everyone gets a little bit dizzy. Honestly, you can kind of move to the blanket, to the floor after that one for a little bit. But yeah, usually the kids want to do this over and over, which is great because you can get some of them facing out, and then you can get some where they're facing in, or maybe they've got their arms kind of like wrapped around mom and dad's neck, or mom or dad, and they're spinning that way. So yeah, lots of variations of spinning. All right, play tag. Oh my gosh, such a hit, always a hit. Works well with older kiddos too. So if you have siblings, you can have the siblings play tag whilst mom and dad just kind of snuggle and sit and watch and laugh. You can also have the entire family play tag. Honestly, it's great. I love it. Just kind of try to keep them in like a relative circle, or like define the space that is being used just so that they don't completely go off out of your shot. And then you can just rotate through who is going to be it. Yeah, usually the kids always want to be it, but sometimes they like it when dad is it. So yeah, just kind of let everyone have a turn. The kids will let you know what they want to do. Okay, number 26, another fun, playful one, ring around the rosy. All right, and again, I like this one. Obviously for this, we're making a circle. Everyone's connecting their hands. Usually people face in and they'll do ring around the rosy that way. And that's great. And then be ready for the moment where they all fall on the floor and just kind of get the laughs, get the smiles for that one. I also like to do ring around the rosy where everyone faces out, because that way you get their faces as they're in the circle, and you usually get a lot of smiles in that one too. Okay, I kind of mentioned this one earlier, and it is sort of an extension of tag, but we were talking about like being animals earlier. This one is very similar. So airplane, if you ever are just like stuck, just kind of look up and think airplanes. If you're like, I've run out of ideas, what haven't I done? Yeah, being airplanes is so fun. I love to do this with couples as well. And I feel like families love to do it. I mean, the kids obviously do, but yeah, the grown-ups, the parents love to do it as well. So just kind of go in a circle, or everyone's kind of like weaving in and out in the same area. All right, we're back to the blanket for number 28. And this one is the blanket drag. This one's great. I will say you kind of have to be careful where you're doing it if you care about your blanket and you don't want it to get crazy dirty. Or you may want to stack your blanket onto like more of a tablecloth that has that like that surface area that's wipeable. Because you're going to be dragging the kids on a blanket. So I did use a blanket one time in a very grassy park area, and it got really badly grass stained. I think it came out, but anyway, I just want to point that out. So you'll have 1 or 2 kids sit on the blanket towards the front end, and then mom and dad are going to be behind, and they have the back end of the blanket, and they're going to be dragging them, just giving them a ride. Again, love to kind of focus in on the kids for this one, with mom and dad sort of more blurry in the background. And then, yeah, naturally the kids kind of end up falling backwards onto the blanket, and that's a great opportunity for everybody to come down and kind of pile on top of each other on the blanket. So you'll find that a lot of these poses are kind of like mix and match. Like you'll have a high energy or playful ones that then develop into maybe slightly slower paced or connection based poses. But yeah, just go with the flow. That's kind of what you have to do with a family session. All right, number 29, another blanket favorite, the blanket swing. Works well with 1 to 2 kids, maybe a third if they're very small, but essentially you're going to get the kids towards the middle of the blanket. They can lie down. It's great if you can try to have them sit up. So you're going to have to, the parents are going to want to choke up on the blanket in a way that kind of positions the kids so that they don't go completely flat back, because otherwise you're not really going to see their faces. Yeah, and then mom and dad are basically going to give them a swing in the blanket. It's so fun. I love it. Yeah, that's a great one. Okay, number 30. I'm definitely going to have to go back through and count because now I think I have 31. So I'll just change the name of the episode. There's a little overlap with some of them. Okay, rocket ship or blast off. I mentioned this one at the beginning, actually. So dad holding the child's hands. So usually the kid is kind of in front of dad's legs, crouching down. Dad's holding their hands or their wrists. And he's going to count 3, 2, 1, blast off. And then dad is going to pull the child up into the air. So we're mostly focusing on the kiddo in this one, but you can also for sure get that wide angle of the action happening. Yeah, it's usually a lot of fun. Kids love it. And then I would position mom and the other sibling, if there's another sibling, just kind of off to the side, kind of watching that action happening. All right, so final one, 31. I think this is just like a bonus one. I think it's pretty common. I don't know, is there, I would say whenever there's a dad in a session, it's pretty normal for the kid to get thrown in the air if there's a younger kid, all right? Dads love to toss their kids in the air. I will say kids don't always love it, but you can't always tell that. So it's worth a try. Yeah, just check with the parents, make sure they're okay with it. Ask dad, hey, is this something you do at home? A lot of the time they will say, yeah, all the time. They love it. Let's do it. So I will say that it's definitely a favorite and gets used pretty often. And then just like that last pose we were talking about, this is one that mom and the other sibling can watch. Maybe they're seated on the ground, maybe they're standing. I love to get that difference in height. So if you can have them seated, it's great. And oh my goodness, I just yawned. I'm sorry. I'm not boring myself. I'm just that tired. Yeah, so that was kind of your bonus pose there. So to wrap everything up, let's kind of tie a bow on this episode and the last one. Obviously, I'm not going into my sessions with 30 poses and trying to run through the list like a shot list, okay? Like, yes, I will have this saved on a note somewhere, but there is kind of like a rough arc that I'll have in my head, and I'm happy to share that with you. So first off, I will definitely just read the family to see kind of how they are as they arrive. Sometimes I will say at the beginning is actually a great opportunity to get those close smiley pictures. Like I feel like the kids have often been like coached by their parents, or they're like well prepped and they kind of have it forefront in their minds that they're going to get candy or something like right after they do the smiley pictures. So I will say that oftentimes I think it also takes the pressure off the parents too. If you can try to get that shot done right away, great, because then the parents are immediately relaxed. They're like, oh, they got that photo done. It's great. Wonderful. Let's move on and just have fun with our kids. So that can be a really great opportunity for that more kind of grounded, connection-based pose where everyone's looking at the camera and they're smiling. So that's something I look for in the beginning. And obviously that kind of matches well with that connection-based theme. So sometimes you might want to start close to the ground. Maybe we lay out the blanket to start. Or if there are some rocks nearby or a tree trunk, great, let's sit on the tree trunk and snuggle up close together. I try not to spend too long in that kind of slower pace in the beginning. I like to just think of it more as like a settling in before I get into some movement, because then I feel like the movement-based poses are an opportunity for any awkwardness or anxieties to just kind of be shook out. And we start to move into a lot more of a natural rhythm in our session, and just more natural connection and interactions are happening. So with movement, obviously the more playful ones I'll kind of weave in here and there. I feel like you can't just go boom, boom, boom with all the playful ones. That's just going to be too high energy. I think it's going to be hard for the kids to come down. So kind of think of it like a wave, if you will. I think that's what helps me. And you'll notice when the kids go from having fun to, oh my goodness, they're starting to be hysterical and slightly crazy and out of control. So yeah, watch for that. Try to think of a wave in terms of the flow of your poses and how much energy is involved in each one. So usually I like to end with the slightly slower, more connected poses, especially if we're getting more to that kind of glowy, golden hour light. Then that's a perfect time to just kind of wind things down, be on the blanket, and do all the snuggles. Yeah, some of the poses that I find myself using a lot, I think I already touched on this as we were talking through the poses, but I do love the ones on the blanket. So laying down, looking at clouds. The blanket hug, the kind of surprise blanket hug one is a favorite. I will say the Superman one with dad kind of spinning the child and mom reaching out for the child. And you can flip that too. You can have mom holding the child and do it the other way around. Those ones are beautiful. I love those. I love when the kiddo is leading a parent somewhere. I think those ones are beautiful. Oh gosh, there's so many. What else am I looking for? Booping on the nose or getting that nose to nose rub is so cute as well. I love when siblings do the whispering. And then usually if there is a daughter, then I'm usually looking for something kind of beautiful between mom and daughter. So a twirl, a spin, something really beautiful between the two of them. I actually love it if the little girl can kind of put her hands on mom's cheeks and not squish, but maybe you can go for that as like a prompt, like let's squish mom's cheeks and then let go and just kind of play between that and see what happens. But yeah, when kids hold their parents' cheeks in their hands, it's so cute. I love that so much. So yeah, those are some of my favorites. And yeah, I think as you will kind of tell, or as you can kind of tell from this episode, posing and prompting really go hand in hand. And for family sessions, I will say that posing is more about visualizing kind of the end result, but I wouldn't necessarily say that you're always kind of being really precise and rigid with how that end pose is going to look. I think if you're creating the right natural environment, you're going to get good hand placement. You're going to get the right kind of eye contact. You're going to get everything from directing your families with all of the prompts that I just gave you. I gave you a lot of prompts, but with the goal that we are creating a specific look, a specific result. We're looking for something, okay? So they go together hand in hand. I hope that this episode has been really helpful for you. And if you think it was really helpful, maybe you can share it with another photographer who you think could benefit from this one. I would also love to hear from you if you have some go-to poses that you always use in your family sessions and they work like a charm. Maybe I didn't include them here. I would love to know. Yes, please share them with me. And then other than that, I think that's all I got for you today. I had to stop this podcast a couple of times, so I have no idea how long this episode went for, but hopefully It was just the right amount of time for you. Please, 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 if you enjoyed this episode, rate, review, subscribe, and I'll see you next time between the frames.